Join us as we hear from the 2015 DoDEA Teacher of the Year, Sarah Loomis, and celebrate the many contributions of DoDEA teachers. Coming up next in the chat room. Welcome to the chat room. I'm Frank O'Gara, your host today. With me is Miss Sarah Loomis, an educational technologist at Kaiserslautern Elementary School in Germany, and DoDEA's 2015 DoDEA Teacher of the Year. Welcome, Ms. Loomis.
Thank you for letting me be here with you today.
No, it's really great to have you here today. May I call you Sarah?
Please do.
Okay. Sarah, we are just absolutely thrilled to have you as the DoDEA Teacher of the Year, and certainly to have you as a representative of teachers across the system. What does it mean to you to be named as Teacher of the Year?
It was pretty overwhelming when the announcement was made in the gym last May, and it's a huge responsibility and honor to represent teachers across DoDEA in the Pacific, in the States, and in Europe. And there are so many amazing educators in our DoDEA school system that being the one that's selected to represent them, I just really wanted to make sure I did an amazing job, because it's their voice that I need to get out, and I need to make sure everyone recognizes that we are surrounded by professionals that care about our kids and our military families. And so this has been an amazing journey, and the people that I have met on the way have made it even more special, and they have taught me and I have learned from them. And I'm just continuing to take in all of this experience and never going to forget it, that's for certain.
Well, that's for sure. And you certainly are a proud representative of all of our teachers who are, help us on a daily basis with military kids. Sarah, you and many of the teachers in that army of just incredible people we have that work with military kids work for DoDEA, but you really could work for any school system in the United States. So why DoDEA?
Well, I really wanted to be in the military. I have a significant hearing impairment, and that kept me from being able to be in the military. And so this is a fantastic way for me to serve. And I did not realize what amazing things our military is doing, and how they truly embody the freedom is not free. And our students that I get to work with, they are enrolled or enlisted, so to speak, as well in the military, and they do it voluntarily too. And so being a DoDEA teacher is the best way for me to support what our military does and to celebrate the students that we get to work with every day.
Great. Okay. How many years have you been a teacher overall, not just in DoDEA?
21 years.
21 years. So in those 21 years, how have you seen the profession, have teaching change over that time?
Well, the one thing that never changes in teaching is every fall we get new students, and we have standards to teach, and we formally assess our students, and could be just sitting down and having a conversation, watching how they're doing, or through a more summative type of assessment. And we always are planning our instruction. So assessment, instruction, and standards-based, it's always been there. And one of the things that I know it is a stressor is the amount of testing that is going on is probably one of the bigger changes and challenges for us in the classroom, because at times it takes quite a bit of instructional time away, and that's the part that we have to find a nice balance. But for what I got into teaching for, and it's to be able to work collaboratively with my colleagues and my students, to constantly challenge myself to grow as an educator and to help students love learning. that stays the same. And I know every generation of teachers, you know, all the way back to the one-room schoolhouse, they had stressors as well. And I'm sure the generation after them said, oh, that's not anything like we're dealing with. And I know the generations in the future to come will say, oh, you guys didn't have it bad at all. So we just have to find a way to work together collaboratively and to move forward and find the positives in our career.
Let's talk about that for a minute, because you mentioned planning and then collaboration. How important is collaboration today in teaching students in the 21st century as a tool? How is that different?
Well, when I first started teaching, we didn't have technology. I mean, the type of technology we have today. And so the collaboration that we did was more around making meaningful lessons for our students based on the standards. And I have to say that I would not be the educator I am today if I didn't have an opportunity on a regular basis to collaborate, because when you collaborate, you get new ideas, you think of ways to do things that you hadn't considered before. You also find out, oh, hey, I did that pretty good. And but it's that team approach of, well, the student's doing really well in your classroom. What strategies are you using so I can do it in my classroom? And it's that collaboration that makes me a better educator. And the other thing is that none of us know it all. And so if you have a strength that maybe is not mine, then why don't we work together and you say, okay, well, I'm going to build this unit, and then you build that unit, and then we can focus on how we can teach each other to make it even better for the students, because ultimately it's all about our students. And so I don't think that you get the full opportunity, the benefit of being a teacher without collaboration, because it is through that we become better. And I think it's an obligation that we're always striving to improve as a classroom teacher.
For sure, for sure. We know the world has changed today, and you mentioned strategies in planning. Are there other instruction? You mentioned the technology a little bit, but are there other instructional shifts that we have to make as teachers to help students in this 21st century world?
You know, the big things, you know, with creativity and collaboration and being critical thinkers, that's something that we help students. Those are skills that aren't standards that are specifically spelled out, but they're embedded in everything we do. But people don't learn how to collaborate without having an experience to be taught how to collaborate. Creative thinking, people don't even sometimes recognize how amazingly creative they are because no one comments on it and it's not celebrated. And so again, those are where you have those collaboration, even collaboration with your students, to find ways to improve on those skills that our students need when they go into whatever career field they may go into. And the other thing that's really important is finding ways to meet the student at where they need to be. And so sometimes I may not have a strategy, or another colleague may come to me and say, I just don't know how to reach the student. And then we can figure out a way, working with the student, to make their education meaningful to them. Everyone wants an opportunity to learn. And so sometimes it's just finding how they learn best. And technology does really provide us a lot of different avenues to help us with differentiation and creating different learning environments.
Great. Today in our school system, and indeed schools across the nation, college and career readiness is absolutely huge. So how is college and career readiness, how is it going to help our military-connected students?
Well, first thing that comes to my mind right off the bat is the transportability of it. Our students move from all different parts of the world and back into American school systems. And the nice thing about using college career readiness standards is that that helps with their transition, that they're not ahead or behind, or it's just a consistent flow of their education. And it's not creating gaps, because what we're doing here now will align with what they're doing stateside. And one of the things we always try to strive for in DoDEA is providing our students that are overseas with the similar experiences if they were in a stateside school. So I think that's important. I also really think that the idea of rigor that these standards will help promote is important, because coming at a problem, like let's say math for instance, and having multiple entry points instead of just only having one way, I think that also creates a type of thinker that we want for our future and the type of careers they're going to go into. Because if they only can go in one path and then that path is blocked, then do they just give up? Mm-hmm. And so knowing to have multiple entry points, I think, will be important for them. So I think our students will benefit. Now, am I thinking that there's not going to be a little bit of challenge right now when we start this? There is going to be, but we have to be perseverant as teachers, and we also have to show that with our students that they need to be perseverant. And so I think that the DoDEA adopting the CCR and rolling out this fall with the College Career Readiness Standards for Mathematics, I think that we all just need to be patient and provide all of us this opportunity to think differently about our learning.
Now, it's a heavy lift for teachers, though. There's
Huge.
No question about it. So what does it take for teachers to be successful at this? What kind of supports do they need?
Well, that's a key word right there, support. Our teachers are going to, this is where the collaboration piece comes back in. When I got the opportunity in October to go to Florida to learn about the implementation of, the title was Implementation of Common Core. And one of the things that I heard over and over again from teachers all across America was that their first few years of teaching it, they just thought they weren't doing a good job. They were doing it in isolation, but they just thought, oh, I'm not getting my students as far along. And then they started implementing opportunities for teachers to collaborate. And so they would all do a similar lesson. They would come back. They would talk about what worked, what didn't work. Can you demonstrate how you taught that lesson? And they found out that they all needed each other's support. They also felt that it was important that their principals provided that support as well in patience, and that it is a change, and change that's important doesn't happen immediately, and that it can't be just given up on because it doesn't look how we're used to things looking. So I think that from the great thing about being the DoDEA Teacher of the Year is I get to talk to all the other states, and all the other states have been doing this now for at least 3 years. Excuse me, not all, but most of them have been doing it for at least 3 years. And so I'm tapping into them constantly.
More collaboration.
Oh, yeah. And I've even asked one of the state teachers if she would be my mentor, because even 21 years into this, I still can be mentored, you know?
Absolutely.
And to help me better support the classroom teacher, because as an ET, that's my job, is to help support classroom teachers and infuse technology in meaningful ways. And so I think that when our teachers are implementing college career readiness this fall, our K-5 teachers, it's really important that they are patient. They allow for that productive struggle, you know, like where you're like, as a teacher, sometimes we come in and say, oh, here, you just need to have the paper this way. And sometimes it's better if we just sit back, maybe sit on our hands and let them find that. Because through that struggle, their learning gets cemented.
Absolutely.
And so I know it's a really heavy lift, but I think the training that DoDEA has in place for our teachers, the support throughout the entire school year, this isn't a one-year thing. We have a 5-year plan for support of this implementation. I think teachers and principals, they'll find that they have the support in place, and they will find that the resources are being provided for them to be successful. Because again, it's all about our kids.
Absolutely. And teachers will have you as a mentor as well, okay?
Well, I'll be right alongside them.
Absolutely, absolutely. I want to talk a little bit about your project, because each of our Teachers of the Year has a project. So tell me about yours and what you're doing, what you hope to do in the future with it.
Well, my first part of my project is a very simple idea, but it just hasn't been developed yet. And I got this idea at a conference. I heard someone say a menu of options, and I started thinking of all these great things that came into my mind, because being the geek I am, menu of options, you know, I could hear all these things. Well, I wanted to create a calendar so that all of the professional development that is being offered, we just have to, as teachers, we just have to go to one place to find that professional development. Because right now, we don't all know what different professional development is being offered. So I kind of thought of it like a aerobics calendar, because everyone can think of an aerobics calendar in their mind. And they're like, oh, there's this class on this day. I'm really interested in that. And so then the professional growth as an educator is driven by what I know I need. It's, again, goes back to that obligation to always be improving. And so that's the first thing. And so I have a calendar built, and it's accessible via the web, and teachers now are able to go onto that calendar and see what professional development is being offered. So then that was just the first thing. And so then I thought, well, you know what we really need to find out is, what is it that teachers are wanting for professional development? So I got a small team together, and I had this full support of our union. I totally appreciate them giving me their thumbs up to go forward with this. And I've had quite a bit of help from our local representation and our district representation on the union. And so what I did is I sent a survey out to all of our teachers in Kaiserslautern School District and asked them to provide, to fill out the survey and to provide me data to figure out what is it that teachers want. And then I asked teachers to volunteer to teach these courses on their own time, after school, or on Saturday, because we don't have any professional development days built into the schedule. I had 40 teachers volunteer to teach courses.
That's impressive.
Oh, that just speaks so many volumes to the type of professionals I work with, because when you're willing to share a strength of yours with another professional, it's just building the capacity of who we are as educators. So then I found, based on the data, the courses that teachers were wanting. And then I matched up those volunteers to the course, and then they went ahead and we built 8 graduate classes, and people are in them currently right now. The big challenge was I asked all of these teacher volunteers to also be willing to consider teaching their class in the physical world live simultaneously in the virtual world, so that teachers that aren't right in our area can still participate. Because just because you're not there doesn't mean that you still don't want to be a learner. And so we have people participating virtually and in the physical world.
And you want this to be global, not just for the Kaiserslautern area.
Yes,
yeah. But
I started with just
of
mine
yeah.
to figure out what is working and what is not working. And you know, whenever you start something new, you always have those people that just, okay, let's go. And so I really appreciate those 40 teachers that volunteered to teach courses.
And the early results?
so far, everyone is really enjoying it. The teachers that are teaching the classes, they're like, this has been so much fun. I'm loving it. And they were all a bit nervous teaching simultaneously, you know. But I think it's good as teachers for us to remember how it feels to have to not be 100% confident, you know, like a student when they're learning something new for the first time.
Sure.
And so I really appreciate my colleagues helping out in this.
Well, you absolutely light up when you talk about teachers, and the enthusiasm that you have for them, I think, is catching. Why is it important for us as a system out in our communities to celebrate the many successes and the contributions of our teachers?
You know, one thing I found with teachers is it's just nice to be told, you're doing a good job. You know, we don't need a parade or, you know, our picture up on a big bulletin board or, you know, whatever. It's just nice to have someone say, thank you, or you've made an impact. But what happens is so much of what we see on the news, it's not celebrating the amazing things that our teachers do, the tons of hours that teachers put in to doing things for our students.
The untold stories.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, it would be great if all of our national newscasts led off every single newscast with a great teacher story, because there are plenty of them. We could easily fill a whole entire year with great teacher stories. But so that's why I think it's really important that we celebrate the impact that teachers have on students. And again, it's that collaboration with the teacher and the student. It's a partnership with our parents and our military community. But the ultimate thing is we're all working on making our students the best. But teachers can sometimes get worn down by all that's being asked of them. And it takes such a little thing to re-energize us, to refuel us. And that's why I think people should take the time to give a shout out to teachers whenever they can.
Well, you're doing a great job in being a cheerleader for them, and we appreciate their efforts on a daily basis. Let's talk a little bit about we're well into 2015 now, and you're getting ready for a special week here in Washington where you will get to hopefully meet the president and some other leaders. How do you feel about that? Tell me about your excitement level. What are you looking forward to?
Excitement it's beyond, you know, like I'm just from a little town in the foothills of the Cascade Mountains, and I'm going to meet the president. It's all a journey, you know, and I just feel very lucky to be able to go and to meet these special people that represent us. And I'm just going to take the moment for at that time, and I have no idea how I'm going to even feel, because I haven't ever. I played when President Reagan walked into. I was a trumpet player, and I played for President Reagan when he walked onto stage, and that's as close as I've ever gotten to a president.
When you were in school, you mean?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And so I'm really looking forward to the opportunity, and it'll be fantastic to be able to meet him with all the other State Teachers of the Year, and my husband also gets to be there with me. And
Great.
So I was sharing with somebody, you know, when you go on a really special trip, you only really can express those feelings with the person that was with you on that trip.
Who's been through the experience.
Yeah, and so I feel very, very fortunate that my husband gets to come with me and do these things.
Well, know that you know, an army of teachers around the world and an army of support personnel throughout our system will be thinking of you as you celebrate that week, and cheering you on as well. Okay, let's end today just talking a little bit about students, if we can. If you had a message, I mean, everything comes back. We're a student-centered organization. If you had a message for students, about success, about staying in school, whatever it is, what would it be?
I think the number one thing I would tell students is to be open to learning. That they need to embrace the idea that the learning's going to be going on the rest of their life. And that maybe if they can reflect each day on something that they have learned, I think that they would recognize how much they actually do learn every day. And I think that also students need to remember that it is a collaborative effort, that it's not all on the teacher, but that we want it to be an opportunity to learn together, and that whatever you put into something is what you can get out of it. And I would tell them there's a, you know, I was hired from Alaska when I joined DoDEA, and there was a colonel named Colonel Norman Vaughn, and amazing man, and his big statement is dream big and dare to fail. And I think that I would tell our students that it's okay if you fail, and then you need to learn how you can do something better. But that doesn't mean that you're not good at it. You just have to figure out how to be better the next time. And then you'll figure out that okay, it's still not working, but you keep moving forward each time. And that builds perseverance. And I think having perseverance is something that if you can have that in your life, no matter how bad something goes, you find strategies to find a way to be successful again. And so that's what I would tell our students.
That's a powerful message. Now, I'm sure you you welcome other teachers contacting you for more information or getting involved in your project.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. How can they contact you if they want to?
I'm on Twitter. You can just look up Sarah Loomis. And I also have a DoDEA Teacher of the Year Facebook page. And if they're in our system, they can find me on the Global. If not, I have an email address. It's sloomis2015@gmail.com. And I'm open to, my idea is it's just here. But I know that there'll be other people that have ways to make it even better. And so
more collaboration.
Yeah. People are probably tired of me saying that, but
no,
I mean, like,
not at all.
My project is just started. It's just in its beginning steps. And so if other people have tried to do something like this or have ideas, it will only get better if we work on it as a team.
And I'm sure you're going to hear from people.
Good.
Okay. Sarah, thank you so much for spending time with us here in the studio today. And we're thrilled about your project. We're thrilled about the honors that you and accolades that you've received. And we wish you the very best as you go through Washington Week and get to celebrate with those teachers from all of the 50 states and the territories around the United States. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Best wishes, and thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.
To learn more about the DoDEA Teacher of the Year program and Ms. Loomis's project, visit our website. Thank you for watching this edition of The Chat Room.